Good evening and welcome to the September 26th, 2024 meeting of the Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District Board of Trustees. We will call the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. and do roll call, please.
Mazer. Jesus here.
Brianna Texoni here.
Mascon here.
Paul's here. I will move in the agenda for the meeting unless there are amendments.
There are no amendments to the September 26th meeting.
Can I have
Thank you,
a
sir.
second?
I'll second.
Therefore, we will call to question the agenda for this meeting.
Jesus, aye.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascon.
Aye. Is there any public participation or comments at this time?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to, I will move that we adjourn to closed session where we may discuss one or more of the following: conference with labor negotiators, public employee discussion, discipline, dismissal, release, conference with legal counsel, and or student matters.
Second.
Call to question for adjournment to closed session.
Mazer. Jesus, aye.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascon, aye.
Aye. We will adjourn to closed session at 6:32 p.m. Good evening, everyone. We are reconvening the September 26, 2024 meeting of the Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District Board of Trustees meeting. I'm going to ask Coach Gary Rowe to lead us in the flag salute, please. Today would be nice.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, veterans who have served this country. Thank you, Mr. Rowe. I will read the civility statement. This is mainly for my behavior. When conducting the district's business, we will strive to communicate clearly and concisely with respect for the time of others. We'll listen objectively, carefully considering the opinions of others. We will understand the counterproductive effects of disruptive and demeaning and intimidating behaviors, and we will understand and respect district policies and procedures. And the theme for tonight for me is this one: and maintain a respect for the rich history of the district and the efforts of others who have served in the past. There is nothing to report out of closed session. Are there public comments?
Yes, 3 public comment cards that have been pulled.
Are they for agenda items or not?
2 are for agenda items, 1 is not, sir.
If you have one of these cards and you are not speaking about an agenda item, just something that's not on our agenda tonight, please raise your hand. Come on up, Mr. Rowe. You have 3 minutes after you state your name.
My name is Coach Gary Rowe. I'm the offensive coordinator for the part of basketball. I'm here on behalf of Coach Fred and the rest of the coaching staff to give you guys a little update. Coach Fred wanted to do this starting last week, but the last meeting was a little bit upset. We're trying to make it a regular thing. So just an update, as most of you already know, we won our first game for the school in 2021, and we don't plan on losing. We don't plan on losing any more games. Actually, we are pretty confident that we're going to win these. So the kids have they've all came together, and Coach Fred and coaching staff have created a culture. Some of you may know being up there, being at school. And I tell you, that first victory, I turned around and I saw everybody like rushing dance, like rushing the coach. It was awesome. But again, we want to keep you up to basketball is going very well. Kids are they're enjoying learning the game. They're enjoying learning teaming. They're enjoying being part of the team. So me personally, I would say we got to give all that thanks to our leader, Coach Fred. Just the way he does the culture that he's creating. I've been a head coach my whole life, and I never want to be an assistant. And I sat in that meeting with him when he interviewed me, and that's what it was like. I said, I'm not doing this job, and I left there. We're let me leave, but I wanted it. So just to let the community know, I've talked to plenty of the board members from the district. A lot of people have come to me personally and asked me to know me from past. Kevin Founder guy, great guy, the kids love him. The rest of the staff that we have, some older dogs, we call them. We have some younger ones. The mix is great. The players that have come together. Players right now, and we will have a big next year. We have one now because of scheduling. So, but yeah, I just want everybody to know, spread the word, come out. Kids love seeing everybody come to Coach Fred, talk for 20 minutes after the game. Everybody was in the stands, and that's what this team needs. So, again, on behalf of Coach Fred and the entire coaching staff, I want to thank you. Brianna, thank you so much for be announcing, some of the other board members that one of the board members just showed up, it was like 8 o'clock at night. And I had to tell the kids who it was. So when they realized that board members and people from the district are coming and know about sports, so I went over.
No, you're not.
Well, I'm not, you're right. But, the kids, the players, they see it. Even the teachers, our new principal, she's been amazing, letting the kids know and like encouraging them walking on campus, even from the age of, security people like Alan, just picking them up. So I feel like, years and years ago, when Coach Ferguson was here, a couple of you had players that have played as well.
Can somebody ring the bell? History class is over now. You know it is. I got friends in high places, son. Your chair is back there. Thank you, Gary. Is he still there? Is he still there? You see how it's going to be tonight, people? Thank you, Gary. Tell everyone hello. All right, there are speaker cards here. Agenda item 11. I'm old, so remind me when 11 comes forward, please. Correspondence, proposals, and reports. Ada, you're on.
Testing. Oh, that's better, huh? I was like, oh, but he was halfway through and I didn't want to like stand in front of him. So thank you for letting me speak. And I just wanted to thank our administrators tonight for listening to Ada's concerns. And I look forward to more collaboration and finding more solutions to those concerns. Thank you.
Can you go coach Mr. Rowe now? Thank you. CSEA. Nothing. Thank you, sir. Student representative of the board appears to be absent.
No.
I know.
All right. Board President, may I share?
Of course.
Okay. This was part of the superintendent's report, but we're going to switch things up a little bit, and Dr. Smith is going to help me. So I'm going to ask Dr. Smith.
Excuse me, Mom. Go over there. You go over there. Go over there now. I'm the board president. Do what I say. You go stand by your picture. Go stand by your picture on the screen. Okay, Mom, you go take pictures of her. Send it to the whole family. This is a big deal. Go stand over there. Everybody get out of the way. This is her moment.
It's gonna get worse, Natalie.
There we go. 6'7" man moved out of your way. That's good.
Huh.
You good? You good? We're good.
All right. Before I turn it over to Dr. Smith, thank you so much for, working with us to go through the process and selecting our new student board representative, Natalie Dugjulian. So with that, I'm going to turn it over for Dr. Smith to kick it off with her background information and why she was interested in the student board rep position.
All right, good evening. So let me share a little bit about Natalie. So Natalie is a senior currently. She has lived in Acton for 4 years this summer. She started in Acton Agua Dulce in the 9th grade. She was brand new and didn't know anyone. So she has 2 younger brothers. One is at Meadowlark in 3rd grade, and another one is in 9th grade, also at Vasquez. She shared that her ethnic background is Armenian, 100%, because her parents moved to the U.S. when they were little. I think her mom was a baby. So her extended family still lives in Armenia and her family visits often. She shared that this is one of her favorite places to visit. Natalie explained that she feels like a parent to her two younger brothers. Her dad, and they're going to love hearing that, right? And her dad works very hard. He's a chauffeur. He has his own business. Natalie's favorite thing in the world is her family. So why become a board member? Natalie said she wasn't originally going to do that because she did have a lot on her plate. Many students do. But she currently is ASB president. Vice president, but she is also the secretary for yearbook. She shared she loves being a voice for those who don't speak up, either because maybe they're too shy or they don't know how to approach things. She says, my peers have great ideas and I want to help them verbalize those ideas. I want to be that outlet for all students. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. So just like many of our students, their plates are full. Natalie is currently an ASB vice president, yearbook secretary, and considers herself Spark's right-hand person. When teachers share they need something done, she likes to take care of it. She explains she's one of those students that didn't have anyone to talk to and wasn't sure what clubs to join or what to do. She wants to be that big sister to other students. Future goals. Outside of high school, Natalie wants to be a lawyer because her mom says she acts like a professional lawyer when she argues. Sounds like my 6-year-olds. However, Natalie notes that she's merely articulating facts in her defense. Natalie says she is also stubborn, which means she will have the determination required to achieve her goals. She wants to attend a community college first and transfer out to a 4-year university to pursue her goals. I'm sure you'll be successful at everything that you attempt, Natalie. Congratulations. And with that, please, yes.
Come on up, stand up now. Any niceties from the board members? Bill?
Congratulations, and thanks for joining. I've missed having somebody next to me on this side. Cheers.
No, congratulations, Natalie. We appreciate you stepping up to the plate and representing all the schools. Thank you.
My favorite part of, I'm so sorry, go ahead.
No, there's order here, you.
My favorite part of sitting up here is having the student voice and listening to everything that you have to say, listening to everything that is going on in our schools, and definitely hearing your opinion. So whether you're stubborn or opinionated, share it. We want to hear it. If you think that we won't like it, share it anyway. You are the voice of 1,061 students. So it's a big role and I'm so excited to see how you fill that role through this whole year. So thank you for giving your time. And Mom, thank you for giving your time, your family time, for her to fill this role. It's a big deal and I'm very excited for you. I'm excited for us. So thank you.
Yeah, welcome to the team. We're definitely excited to have you on board, and it's a big commitment, and I think, yeah, sounds like you'll do well.
First, it's finally nice to meet someone with less vowels in their last name than me. Next, please remember that you represent every kid in the school district from pre-K, special day class, all the way up. And finally, you say you have people coming into the United States that don't live here. Your family visits. Well, bring them over here. And if you want to freak them out, introduce me as what America is like. Welcome. You have any comments for us? It's your turn.
No, thank you. No, I'm very excited to start my role as student representative. I'm just excited. That's all I can say, really. Thank you guys for the kind words.
Superintendent report.
Thank you, Board President. So tonight I'll focus on 3 goals from our plan: effective instruction and leadership, community engagement, as well as student safety and connectedness, as you see on the screen. Start off with goal 2, effective instruction and leadership. The LA County Teachers of the Year is an honors competition spotlighting teaching excellence in public education. The competition is the largest of its kind in the state and is part of the oldest and most prestigious honors contest in the U.S. for public school teachers. Nominated and recognized by her peers, Michelle Fernandez, Meadowlark teacher, is our 2024 Teacher of the Year. Unfortunately, she could not be here tonight as she had a family engagement. Nonetheless, I'd like to take this time to read a few quotes submitted to us by her peers. I have worked with Michelle Fernandez for almost a decade. She has always been very dedicated and professional. She is a strong teacher with passion for her craft and her students. Also, Mrs. Fernandez is a skilled teacher with vision. She has excellent classroom management, which she uses to create a good learning environment for all her students. Her students learn to prepare for the future. Congratulations, Michelle, on your Teacher of the Year recognition. Thank you. Moving forward, goal 3, parent ambassadors. We were thrilled to kick off our district's parent ambassadors program this evening. The purpose of these workshops is to promote parental participation to further strengthen their child's school experience and well-being at our 3 schools. We will have a series of parenting classes designed to train and empower parents of school-aged children. What you see on the screen was the flyer for this evening. Please expect those to go out on our social media pages as well as our schools, for each of our schools' weekly announcements to the parent community. We'll have hybrid workshops just as the one we had this evening at 7 p.m. in our boardroom. Our district staff will present on a myriad of subjects related to school district functions, from ed services that we heard from tonight. Thank you, Dr. Chamberlain. District budget, what does that look like? What are the social emotional supports that we provide our students, as well as what can our parents capitalize on in terms of that continuum at home when it comes to those types of supports? In addition, we'll enhance this experience by scheduling virtual workshops. These virtual models will include topics such as family engagement in schools, setting academic goals for your student, navigating the digital era, as well as other topics, and that will be held once a month. So we're excited to kick off a formal district-sponsored parent education workshop. So thank you for that. And thank you, staff. Last but not least, goal number 4 is student safety and connectedness. As many of us know, we have a Department of Justice grant to enhance safety measures on all 3 campuses. With that, it ties in nicely to goal number 4 of student safety. Tomorrow, we have an active shooter tabletop exercise scheduled here at the district office for district office personnel. Superintendent, principals will be participating, as well as management staff. As the incident command post for the district, this exercise will have those individuals that I mentioned participate. The purpose of this tabletop exercise is to evaluate the district's emergency response plan and prepare for an active shooter situation. And God forbid we ever have to actually enact incident command. Ultimately, the exercise tomorrow is to enhance and make sure that we have all of our steps in place for a quick response, including law enforcement, and to identify gaps that we have in our plans. So it will be a learning experience, and hopefully we'll never have to enact that exercise in real time. And with that, I'd like to conclude my superintendent report. Thank you, Board President.
Thank you. I'd like to hear from the Facilities and Finance Subcommittee.
We have our meeting scheduled for the 4th. We'll be releasing the agenda for that next week. Items that we have in discussion to have on that agenda will be mostly deferred maintenance items, transportation, buses, and just all the items, things we need to do to make sure we keep the lights on.
Bill?
Yeah, as Lester said, we meet once a month, so that's what we're meeting on. And I think our biggest thing right now is the need for transportation. So that's gonna be a hot topic.
So the model is, can we go back to that flyer that was for the parent? Yeah, there was a program at one point being run through the parent groups called Know Your District. And, you know, you hear things in the parking lot and on social media and things like that. And sometimes some the school and doing the job every day. And when you have an opportunity to learn who those people are and learn what they're actually responsible for, it's a lot easier to understand some of the challenges and celebrate successes. Unmeasured success, there's no celebration in that. But if you have a challenge, you can discuss these things, and then if you're going to come and sit up here on a subcommittee or something, or even your site council, your safety committee, you kind of know what the deal is. You're not being fed by stuff. So the grand scheme of things, I fought for a long time to get this program up and running, the subcommittee program. And if you have an interest in something like finance or facilities, or you're somebody that is out in the public that has a specialty, we all have, you know, some type of specialty. You come to this, you participate in this, and then that makes you jump forward and be able, when there's some contention going on or you're hearing gossip or something like that, you're actually able to be an ambassador for the district. Because when this community comes together, we are very powerful. It will be my pleasure the next time we meet, I think, to hear from the education subcommittee, which is board member Taxoni and Dr. DeJesus. Remind me, I gotta see you about my cold. Laugh now. He is a doctor. Just not the kind I need. Okay, chatter done. Perfect. Moving on, submissions.
No new charter school submissions this evening.
You have a renewal submission though,
Oh,
for,
we do have a renewal submission.
yes, for iLead Online. We have Kate Wolf, who is the director of iLead.
I apologize.
Good evening, governing board. It's a privilege to be here. I'm Kate Wolf, director at iLead Online, and we're grateful for your partnership. I am here to submit our.
Just so the audience understands, that is a process where there's a charter telling us they want a renewal. There are all kinds of laws about this I won't get into. There will be no questions tonight. I will tell you this, you can bank on it that every question I ask one charter, I'm going to ask another, and they are right to the bone. Make sure that anything that's going on in the charter world does not place my home district kids at risk. Be very clear about that. I'm not out to get anybody except myself, and I'm glad that we have the people in the corner. Please introduce yourself very quickly. Be clear, Sherry Shannon works for this district. She does not work for the charters. Okay, everybody clear on that? Good. Moving along, I will move in the consent agenda items 8B through 8D for discussion.
Second.
Let's read off what those are. They are the warrant registers, the purchase orders, and the minutes of the last meeting. Does anybody want to pull anything off the consent agenda? Hearing nothing, call to question.
Meza.
DeSouza.
Brianna Taxoni, aye.
Mask on.
Ballsgraph, aye. You have your consent agenda. Item 9, I will move in the personnel action report.
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, call to question.
Meza.
DeSouza.
I will happily abstain.
Mask on.
Ballsgraph, aye. 4-0, one abstention. B, I will move in master services agreement with Ed Theory LLC.
I'll second.
Any discussion? We all get the agenda, so we're not rubber stamping anything. We read through this and blah, blah, blah. Any discussion about Ed? Make sure to remember he's going out fast. Ed Theory LLC board. Call to question.
Mays, aye.
Just Souza.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on.
I believe that brings us to item 10. Is that correct?
And do you want to vote on that?
Hang on. Call to question. Didn't we just vote on that? Aye, thank you. Meet Brianna, my babysitter. You don't get much for 50 cents an hour. 10. I said that. Item 10, education and pupil services. This is a hearing. This is not an action item. It is a public hearing on the sufficiency of instructional materials in this school district. Superintendent.
Thank you, Board President. School
Wait a
District.
minute. I do need a motion.
Yes.
I am going to open the hearing at 8:56 PM.
I will second. It's 7:56.
Thank you. I'm from Wisconsin. It's actually 9:56. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Wow.
School districts are required to hold a public hearing, as we are now, to affirm that sufficient textbooks and instructional materials have been provided to all of our students, Meadowlark, High Desert, and Vasquez, in the areas of math, science, history, and of course, English language arts, which we have. Thank you.
Any comments? Anybody want to talk about this? Any insufficiencies you see outside of my humor? Good. I will close the public hearing at 7:58.
I'll second.
All right, now we're going to do the action item on the same thing. I will move in resolution 2024-25.04, sufficiency of education materials.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call to question.
She goes first. You get to go first. I gotta pay attention.
One more time. The sufficiency of the textbooks in your school. If I were you, I wouldn't vote on this, but go ahead. Listen, staff will spend some time with you this week, getting you up to speed on what you vote on and yeah, okay.
Mays, aye.
Just Souza.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on.
Falls graph, aye. I will move in item C, quote, Renaissance not to exceed $40,805.
Second.
Thank you. So under Ed Services, the quote for Renaissance, Renaissance is really the platform. What Dr. Chamberlain, our Ed Services Director, is going to review and present this evening is really a component of Renaissance, which is EduClimber, which really kind of elaborates on our MTSS, multi-tier systems of support process at our school sites. And if approved, this will be coming out of the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant from the district. Dr. Chamberlain, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, board. Thank you. So EduClimber will be replacing Branching Minds, and it is an MTSS collaboration and support platform. And it meets our LCAP goal for providing high quality education system for all our students, focusing on high academic rigor with a multi-tiered system of support. So when I say MTSS, that's an abbreviation for multi-tiered system of support. It also meets our LCAP goal 2 by eliminating barriers to student success and maximizing learning times. It helps us to engage all students and family and connect and empower active participants in a safe and healthy school climate. So EduClimber is an MTSS collaboration and management system. It's an interactive management system that will help us strengthen our MTSS and our PBIS implementation. efforts. It will provide us with academic and non-academic data. It helps us evaluate and monitor our intervention systems and its effectiveness, and it helps us monitor, progress monitor through an equity lens. Some of the challenges that we sometimes face with MTSS is that we are entering the data manually. We do it in silos where often a school principal or administrator may be putting things into Aries. Our attendance clerk is putting attendance into Aries. Our counselors are putting some of our social emotional data into another system. So it kind of isolates our teams at times, and it makes it hard for us to communicate and collaborate on what we need to do to move our students forward and to support them. It also leads to kind of delayed feedback. The program that we're supporting will help us provide evidence-based decision-making. And due to like kind of the silos and kind of working in separate areas, it doesn't help us really engage our teams to move forward for our students. So this is just a little overview of EduClimber. It's about 2 minutes, and they are going to say it much better than I can. It's a really fantastic program.
EduClimber is Renaissance MTSS collaboration and management tool. It helps us work toward our mission of accelerating learning for all children and adults of all ability levels and ethnic and social backgrounds. Renaissance provides accurate assessment, engaging practice and instruction, and actionable insights. EduClimber is one of our tools to provide those actionable insights to school districts. It brings together academic and non-academic data, giving us a picture of the whole child.
See, it was working earlier.
Also able to do systems level analysis, monitoring intervention effectiveness, and viewing their key performance indicators through an equity lens.
If it doesn't work, I'll do it without it.
EduClimber integrates all student data as well as summary level data. It allows us to understand what's going on with students via multiple measures and then aggregate and disaggregate the data as needed. Each stakeholder within a district has EduClimber is Renaissance MTSS
Okay, if you let it
sites.
play, I'll see what I can do as far as
EduClimber is one of our tools to provide those
keep
actionable
up with
insights to school districts. It brings together
So-
academic and
So this
non-academic
page
data,
is showing
giving
you
us a
where
picture
all
of the
data
whole
comes
child.
together all together. So what this has
Educators
is
are
it has
also
your
able to do
academic data,
systems
it
level
has your
analysis,
testing, it has
monitoring
your
intervention
attendance,
effectiveness,
it has any social,
and viewing their
emotional,
key
PBIS,
performance
and also
indicators
has your
through an
behavior
equity lens.
interventions. So what it's doing is it's putting
EduClimber
all that
integrates all
information in
student
one
data
place.
as well
So
as summary level
your
data.
principals, your
It
counselors,
allows us to understand
access
what's
this
going on with
information, our
students via
social
multiple
workers,
measures
they'll be
and
able
then
to see
aggregate
the
and
whole picture
disaggregate the
of the
data as
child.
needed. Each stakeholder within a district has the visibility into the system that they need to answer the questions for their
So
role.
again,
For example,
also gives you a view,
administrators
so
can
for myself
understand
as a district
where they can make
administrator, I will
high-impact
be
system
working with
changes and view their
all of the
data
data
through
at
an
once. It
equity
also
lens.
provides,
School
information for our
psychologists
school
can manage the
psychologists and also
MTSS
for our
process
teachers.
and better
So it's really
understand
one way for
which
us as a
decisions they should be
group. Now
making
we're
for
all seeing
students
the
in
same thing. So
intervention.
now we're working as a collaborative
Teachers
team.
can view the
When we
whole
come
child
together,
and
for instance,
understand
in,
are their efforts
attendance
at
committees at our
accelerating learning
school,
effective.
we obviously like I may be there,
The
principals will be there,
information in
councils will be
EduClimber
there,
is
teachers will
granular
be
enough
there.
to help us
Our
pinpoint
other student
academic and
support people
social
will be
emotional
there.
behavior
Now we
needs
have the data
and
for
allow
the
for
student,
root
all
cause
of the data in
analysis
one
to better
place.
understand what's causing the issues that we're seeing. It's holistic
Other
enough
thing
that
it
we can
does
get a
is
picture of
it
the
will also
system
notify
and
us
understand
when a
if the little
student-
things
so
that
say we
we're
have a
doing
student who's
each
been
day
coming to
at a
school
school or
pretty
district
regularly,
are
and all of a
taking
sudden,
us
for
in the
some
right
reason,
direction.
Student isn't coming to school, or say their grades
There's
drop.
smart
We'll
workflow
get,
tools within the
notifications
system that
saying,
allow
"Hey, something's going
educators
on
to
with the student.
collaborate.
Their
Tools
data
like a
looks
meeting
different,"
module
which
where
will
we
cue
can
us
view all
to
the
reach
data
out
in
to
one
the
place
student.
and then take
Depending
action
the
on
kind
it
of data that
and
we're getting
document the
back,
decisions
if
we're
it's an
making for
attendance, it may
students.
be attendance
Early
or
warning
attendance team,
systems help
maybe our site
automate the
administrators.
identification of
If
risk
it's
and
a
drive
social
improvements and
emotional
support for
that's
students.
popping up, and maybe our counselors
If you're
that are reaching out,
interested in
or
learning
or
more,
our,
please
or our
visit
social workers.
renaissance.com to continue the conversation.
So that's me ad-libbing that. Thank you, Alex, for that. So this again is showing you some of the things that were in the video was this is just an up close screen that's showing that on the screen, when you have the information for the student, you have their historic and academic data. You have information on their social emotional, which is coming from our PBIS, which is our positive behavior interventions. You have your attendance there, you have behavior incidences, and you're able to look at multiple years of data for each student, and you're really able to see the trends for students. And it gives you the opportunity to really aggregate and analyze the data. See, like, are we having a lot of, one of the things I used to track is when we were getting suspensions. And when I was a principal, there a lot of times we're at the end of the school, at the end of the month. And so it made me ask the question, what's going on with families at the end of the month that we're seeing an increase in suspension rates? It could be that students are, parents are just, that's sometimes when we haven't gotten paid. So maybe we're struggling financially, which can cause stress in a household, which can cause stress for kids. So we really kind of dug into that. So this really puts all your data, like if a student is having an attendance issue, are their grades falling? It gives you the whole picture to really be able to look at everything. It'll help us to track our interventions, because now instead of doing things by hand, we have an information system that we can actually put the information into and really create that intervention plan and support that student. And so this is just another, I probably pretty much said everything. This is another screen. It's going to help us track the implementation fidelity. And it'll also show us the improvement rates for interventions. So we have the data all on one screen. And this is another screen that shows progress monitoring. And so these were all in that video. So this too is showing you, this is a whole group of students. So we use iReady as a diagnostic, as well as Renaissance as a diagnostic, beginning, middle of year, to track our data in math and English language arts. This puts all of that information on one page by subject area. So we can look, even as a school and a district, what are our areas of growth? So we're supporting our students and planning our instruction based on the needs of our students. And then I spoke a little bit earlier about the early warning system, which is going to monitor for us and let us know if there's some changes in a student's attendance or in their grades, or if they're struggling social emotionally. And it will also give us a way to communicate progress with our educational partners and our parents. And this is going over the cost. We didn't renew with Branching Minds. The cost is about the same. The first year, the implementation cost is a little higher because of the technology piece. And then after that, it'll be 11,000 and 10,000, which is what we were paying for Branching Minds. We didn't renew with Branching Minds because it really wasn't filling our needs. It wasn't as much of a whole child thing, and we weren't able to get the data really out to our sites. And so this just goes into a little bit where we have our silos over here. These are the EduClimber solutions. How it's automating the data, it's integrating the data so we have it all in one place. It's helping us foster collaboration, so we're supporting our students. And thank you very much for listening. And do you have any questions?
Board members?
None for me.
I'm good. So I'm familiar with Data Central, and this looks like Are you familiar with Data Central?
I'm not.
Okay, this looks the same, and I'm on the MTSS Tier 1 and Tier 2 team at my job. So being able to get the data, match the data, fill the holes, and essentially start all over, right? That's the goal. So there definitely has to be a place where you can get the data easily. Otherwise, it's just not happening on campuses. So anything that's going to help you and school sites retrieve data easily is awesome. Does this talk directly with Aries, or how it does?
Yes. Yeah. And it talks directly with Renaissance. Well, it's a Renaissance tool. It also talks with iReady, so that when we do our beginning, middle, and end of year assessments, that data will automatically feed into this program. Yeah.
So
in
the
edu-
assessment data automatically feeds in the day-to-day grade data, like the actual
Not the
grades?
day-to-day. No, semester grades may, so I'll have to look into that. We were really looking at the data from SBAC. We were really looking at the attendance because that's an area of focus for us. I'll check on grades. I know that Aries, that it aligns with Aries, so my thought is yes, because grades go into Aries.
Mhm.
So I would think yes, but I don't know exactly. I'll double check. I can email you the whole board tomorrow if you would like that answer.
That's,
Just-
it was just a curiosity. It's not gonna make or break
Well,
a
now I
vote.
want to know
Um,
though.
For me, when I'm using it, when I'm pulling grades, I pull on the progress and on the quarter and I put them into my spreadsheet for our team. So like that's my job on the MTSS team is gathering the data and distributing it out. So that's why I use that part of it. It does help. But to be able to analyze attendance data as well, to feed into that, that's really cool too.
Yeah, it'll have the PBIS data in it too. So as we're doing intervention, we create intervention plans for students. It will help us progress monitor students in that lens as well.
So it's the attendance, the assessments and the social emotional. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Can you remind me where the funding source is coming from this?
I will defer to Dr. Sahakian.
It's our learning. It's our learning recovery emergency block grant. So it's one-time funds for the purpose of enhancing this type of environment for our students. and
So it
student
comes from
children.
restricted funds, that's.
Restricted funds, correct.
Yeah.
Right. And
Which is-
this, it'll be paid for 3 years. So we'll be 3 years out.
And the ongoing cost will be
It's about 10
equal to what we were already paying for?
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be it'll be right around 10,000 moving forward.
I think it's fantastic to get all the data in one place. What I would be curious to see at some point, all the different systems that we're paying for and how they're all connected at some point, because I know when you have multiple systems out there, things tend to get lost. Or at least things get orphaned and unused
Yeah.
at times.
So we don't have a lot. If something's not working for us, I don't renew it.
Okay.
It's kind of just the way I am. So
I would like to hear more about that.
yeah, when
you
we're
present.
offline, I'll be happy to share
Yeah.
with you because I know exactly what we're using and
Good.
then on the back end, things that we have kept, I track the data to see how much our staff is actually using it and interview people, send out surveys, talk to our principals to see. Yeah, to make sure. And if we want to keep it, then we need to get more people to use it. Like it needs to be worth,
That's
and
100%
it
the
needs
right
to
answer.
really be student focused and be driving our goals
Yep.
for our students. Yeah.
That's exactly the way it would need to be. Do we have a projected rollout date?
At this semester, so January.
Oh,
Yeah.
you'll be able to get all those systems connected by then.
Well, it probably will be our fantastic IT people. That won't be me. But, we have some new, we have iReady math implementation. We have learning without tears, which is the writing. We have a lot of new things that we're teachers are implementing and those are big lifts for teachers. So we thought waiting till the semester would be better
Sure.
because it can, you can get a little overload on programs and things.
My only other question is more for the IT side of it. Do we know where our data is going to end up? Is it going to be on site? Are we hosting it on our own servers? Is it going to be cloud-based? They're going to be hosting it themselves? Okay. And we've done a security questionnaire with them to make sure that they're going to be keeping it safe and they have the proper insurances.
Yeah, and there's some slides from them specifically on that, but the Renaissance we've been using now. So we're already using them. We've been using them for as long as I've been here, probably longer as far as the STAR data. So they have all our student information and we haven't had issues, but there is some information I can find. I did see those slides. I didn't include them, but yeah, it was
Appreciate it.
interesting.
Thank you.
So to summarize, what I'm hearing from the board is that first off, we want to make sure that all the stuff that I did when I was a kid that I don't want nobody to know isn't out there floating around on some cloud somewhere. That the out-year funding source, everyone understands that this is one-time funding and that in the future, when this runs out, we're going to be looking to have to pay for it out of the general fund, and that is not being paid for out of the general fund now. So sink that one away. $10,000 may become very important at some point. And I think it's appropriate for both the education subcommittee and the finance subcommittees to stay on top of how many duplicate and triplicate and whatever the next one is, programs are that we're paying for out of the general fund that will have an out. I get it that the recovery funds, the COVID recovery funds, it was used that and everybody built businesses, but in 3 years, we're gonna be looking for money and I don't want to be paying for duplicate and triplicate stuff. That's a message from me. Thank you. Call the question.
Sorry, I wanted to ask, for the emotional and mental wellness of the students, would you base that on just if their grades are dropping, or is there a survey that the students would take every single day in their advisory?
So if we got like a warning, to us that, hey, this student's grades have dropped or this student's attendance, we would reach out directly to you.
Okay.
So we, hey, Natalie, I've seen you've been missing school. What's going on? Or, hey, your grades have been really good, but and usually, sometimes there's things going on at home. Somebody may be ill. You may be having sometimes kids come and they're just kind of struggling. Maybe they're really overwhelmed right now with homework, so and then that way the counselors find out kind of how to provide that support. Yeah. So that way you don't go unnoticed, right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes we wouldn't know and you don't always come to us.
Right.
But if we get a like a little like, oh, something's going on here, let's see. And it may be nothing, right? But it does give us a kind of an extra layer of like support that we can make sure that we have our eyes on our students and are able to reach out and provide support if they need it.
Okay, and so just to be clear, this wouldn't be something that a student would log on to, like, for example, PBIS to do the daily, how are you feeling? Okay, so
Mm-mm.
this is just for staff.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. It's 100% for staff.
okay. I
It's
really
going to
like
take
it.
some of the data you guys are providing us though, when you do those surveys,
Mhm.
that will feed right into this. So now, like right now, we're getting it in silos. We're just kind of getting, if we know something's going on with you, we look in Aries and we look in all, and we see like, what are your grades? What is your attendance? Like we can look at everything, but it's separate. And now it's just me looking, where now with this, it pulls our whole team together.
I really like it. I just was wondering if there's any student thing to it.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
but no, we don't have another thing for you. I know you guys are doing a lot already. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Loop again. Good, good, good. I want you to know that I am a firm believer in parent and student rights to especially privacy. I'm the champion of that.
Jillian, I.
Mazar.
Suicide.
Brianna Texoni, I.
Mascon.
Paul draft I. Item D, I will move in a quote curriculum associates and iReady partner services not to exceed $24,798.
I'll second. I'll second.
Thank you. Dr. Chamberlain, don't go too far. If approved to be funded, this will be coming out of, again, the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, and this provides assessments for our students. Dr. Chamberlain, any comments regarding iReady?
This was actually part of the presentation that I did last time when we were sharing the implementation for iReady with the math and the reading diagnostic. We just didn't have this invoice at that time.
Oh, or I. Jillian, I.
Mazar.
Suicide.
Brianna Texoni, I.
Mascon.
Paul draft I. Do I have I'll motion to open the hearing.
I'll second.
Before we go on, I've been through some hearing stuff like this, and, I have actually had people stand at a podium and lie to me on stuff they were federally indicted for weeks later. So, I would like the superintendent to give us kind of an overview as to what we can expect in this process tonight. There are certain things that the board can do. There are certain things that the board can't do. this is just for us to objectively look at the performance and the recommendation of staff and an attorney that's highly trained in this. So could you open us with kind of an overview of what the audience can expect to see tonight?
Sure, sure. Board President Fosgraf. All charter schools authorized by the LEA school districts should be given an opportunity for a public hearing prior to the authorizer, our district, decides to renew or not renew a charter renewal submission. And tonight, do remember, we do have Assurance Academy for renewal process. It's a lengthy process in terms of the submission as far as the fiscal component of the charter as well as the instructional piece. It is vetted through our internal staff led by Ms. Patterson, Director of Charter Services, as well as vetted through legal, as well as a consultant that is hired through the district and not by the charter. And our school board members received about a month ago, at least 30 days prior, a packet of the submission itself, of the fiscal as well as the instructional piece of the submission for review and for any questions for this evening. And we're here tonight for the public hearing, all the stakeholders in tow. So, Ms. Patterson.
So what we will have right now is representatives from Assurance Learning Academy. Victor Nardiello and his team will be up to present information for you regarding assurance.
Before anyone starts, it's your prerogative to ask to speak after the presentation concludes. It is your prerogative to wait and speak at the end after you've heard what we have to say. So, whatever you feel is appropriate. You raise your hand if you have a speaker. Are you guys started out? You want to talk now?
Yeah.
Is that good for you? Please.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah Garcia. I've been enrolled in Assurance, the Pacoima site, about 2 years now. I transferred from another charter school in the San Fernando Valley. I decided to leave my previous school because I felt like I needed more support that they couldn't really support me with. Right away, I liked Assurance a lot better. I liked that I can have my own schedule. The teachers were a lot easier to communicate with, either like phone call, email, text messages. My first teacher was Mr. Lombardi. He was kind of strict at first. He was a little bit scary, but like as I got to know him and he got to know me, he was providing me with a bunch of services like the CIS, which is like a gang intervention program, and they help students with their school needs, their personal needs. Like they can provide you with like if you need therapy and things like that, they'll like show you the programs to go with them and stuff like that. And they'll provide you with rides home and back if you need to go to school and stuff. I had like a really rough patch in my high school experience, maybe like my junior year, where I felt like I didn't really have anybody to talk to. So I had my supervising teacher, Miss Patterson. She was there with me, motivating me to turn in my credits, to be on time and everything. Like she was just, it felt like she was more family than actual family, if that makes sense. All of these connections that I've made with my teachers are just a few reasons why I've made it this far and why I'm only a couple months away from graduating. So I should be done Christmas week. And I'm very grateful with everything that has came with Assurance. Like literally everything that they've done for me, it's such a blessing. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Andrew Rivas, and I've been attending Assurance Learning Academy for 2 great years. My experiences in this school have been extraordinary. I've participated in a plethora of school events, such as going to USC to tour the campus and learn about more opportunities, going to the beach to clean up and gain volunteer hours. And going to Sacramento to speak to lobbyists and politicians. And I've also been to St. Louis, Missouri to compete for a scholarship nationally, and many, many more. Many opportunities have been given to me at this school that have helped change and shape who I am today. For example, student leadership, getting asked to join the regional leadership team, JAG, culinary arts, and gaming club. Our site leadership has shown me how to become a leader. The regional leadership team has helped me shown my leadership skills and prepare activities for people to enjoy. JAG has helped me become more professional and learn more about the real world and how certain things work once I graduate. I've also learned how to create a professional resume through the JAG program. Culinary arts has learned how to help me to Culinary arts has helped me learn how to work under pressure and complete one task at a time. Gaming club has helped me express myself by using gaming and competition. Also, when I came to this school, I wanted to become a firefighter. Now, my goals are still the same, but I want to join the military first to help financially support me through this journey. I've also met a lot of dedicated teachers and students who have pushed me to strive and become more accountable for my actions. Overall, this school has changed me drastically and helped me become a better person. Thank you for your time and attention.
I need all 15 of these minutes, so I'll get started here. Good evening, President Fallscraft, board members, student representative, Superintendent Dr. Sahakian, and those in attendance. Thank you for allowing us the time to speak with you tonight regarding Assurance Learning Academy's charter renewal. My name is Victor Nardiello, and I am the area superintendent for Assurance. With me here tonight is Rachel Taggart, Regional Director of Ed Support Services, along with a few other valued support staff to answer any clarifying questions at the board's discretion. Before we begin, I want to thank the board and AAD-USD for the continued support of our students and partnership. Since 2012, your authorization has enabled us to provide educational opportunities for over 17,000 at-risk students and has given us the reason to celebrate our more than 3,600 high school graduates. Next slide, please. For this evening's public hearing, we'll be covering the following topics: renewal process, WIOA, student demographics, DOS, alternative metrics, LCAP, and finally, budget projections. Next slide, please. The renewal process for Assurance's charter petition has recently commenced after an 8-year hiatus extended by AB 130 and SB 114. During this time, Assurance has consistently received positive feedback through annual visits and reviews focused on academics, operations, and financials. This year-long renewal effort has included extensive educational partner engagement, featuring board meetings, surveys, PAC-ELAC meetings, and community support, all supported with the guidance of AAD-USD. Next slide, please. We are a Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or WIOA school. So what does that mean? This means we are committed to exclusive partnerships with several state and federally recognized WIOA service providers. Through these formal relationships, we aim to benefit both students and their communities by offering educational services, while our WIOA partners provide vocational training and support. Next slide, please. In partnership, actually, it's the one before, sorry about that. You're ahead of me. In partnership with our WIOA providers, Assurance serves 2,966 students across 13 learning centers in Los Angeles County. These centers range from the Antelope Valley to Long Beach, and due to our WIOA status, we are not restricted by the geographic limitations of other non-WIOA charter schools. Our WIOA status also allows us to further combat the high school dropout rate with the ability to enroll students up to the age of 24. Currently at our Acton site, we serve 12 students in collaboration with AAD-USD. Next slide, please. This slide highlights the WIOA partnerships at each of our Assurance 13 learning centers. These partnerships are crucial as they enable the school to operate across Los Angeles County and provide students with essential occupational skills for the job market. The 2 centers in blue italics, Sun Valley and Sylmar, were unexpectedly relocated to temporary spaces in July, but promising permanent locations have been identified. Next slide, please. As a WIOA charter, Assurance aligns its educational and college career preparation programs with local workforce system goals for youth. These goals include career exploration, education guidance, skills training in high demand industries, employment preparation, and placement in post-secondary or workforce training. Assurance offers a curriculum that blends career readiness, workforce development activities, and core academic standards, and all students receive mandatory instruction in partnership with our WIOA support providers. Many assurance students, you're good on that next one, sorry. Many assurance students are at risk of dropping out or have already dropped out due to significant academic and personal challenges. These students often face instability in their homes and communities caused by factors like poverty, mental illness, substance abuse, crime, and violence. Many must work to support their families, not just for personal needs. And there's a high number of pregnant or parenting students, some with multiple children requiring flexibility in their education. Additionally, the school serves gang-affiliated and justice-involved youth, working with community partners to provide a safe and supportive educational environment. Our students face many academic challenges and other difficulties in their lives that keep them from engaging or remaining engaged with school. Next slide, please. The average age of our students is almost 17 and a half years. So almost half our enrollment are adult students that are credit deficient. And according to our diagnostic assessment data that we collect at the time of enrollment, our average students come to us with 6th grade reading skills and 5th grade math skills. As you can see from the students we serve, it is clear our admission policies are free of barriers and exclusionary practices. Assurance does adhere to the California Education Code, admitting all students who wish to attend, especially those students with the greatest academic needs. Next slide, please. As you see on this slide, the data from DataQuest, assurance subgroups lead the comparative list in socioeconomically disadvantaged students at 86.4% of our enrollment, EL RFEP students at 51.4%, SPED students at 22.7%, and we are in the higher end of proportion of foster and homeless students. Along with our general education program, we provide a full service English language development program and a special education program following a personalized model. Next slide, please. Quick note on our SPED programming. So for special education, we partner with the El Dorado Charter SELPA to ensure excellent educational opportunities for all students with IEPs. Our Learning Center classrooms offer a least restrictive environment, and students are supported in an inclusive model approach where their learning takes place alongside general education students. When prescribed by the IEP, we provide for any additional student needs such as adaptive PE, assistive technology, school nurse and school psychologist support, etc. In addition to this, all students with disabilities have access to one-on-one appointments with their teachers and supplemental instruction support with special education paraprofessionals. Students access all these supports and services through pre-planned in-person and in rare occasions, virtual appointments throughout the week. Finally, we take pride in assuring our parents and students are aware of their rights and protections afforded to them by IDEA and California Ed Code. Moreover, our internal compliance procedures are strong and ensure deadlines and standards are met. Next slide, please. We are also a dashboard alternative school status or DAS school. So what does that mean? DAS status is a special consideration required by state law for those schools that qualify by having a student enrollment where 70% or more of the population fits into one or more high-risk criteria categories. The criteria includes, but is not limited to, suspended expelled, pregnant parenting youth, credit deficient, recovered dropout, homeless foster, and high-level transiency. Assurance current unduplicated DAS student percentage is 85.2%. Next slide, please. As a criteria for renewal, Assurance in collaboration with AAD-USD have agreed to the following alternative metrics for renewal. As a DAS charter, Ed Code section 47607C7 requires a charting authority to consider a DAS school's performance on the dashboard, as well as alternative metrics. These alternative metrics are to be mutually determined by a charter school and its chartering authorities. Assurance in collaboration with AAD-USD have agreed to the following alternative metrics for renewal. That is CAS performance growth and participation, English learning process progress indicator or LP growth, Northwest Evaluation Association or NWA MAP assessment growth, Algebra 1 Illuminate assessment growth, DAS one-year graduation rate growth, and success rate growth. Next slide, please. Our areas of alternative metric strength have been identified as CAS participation, performance growth on our Algebra 1 Illuminate assessments, growth in our success rate, and performance growth on our NWA MAP assessments. Next slide, please. CAS testing participation can be tricky at Assurance with our year-round enrollment and transient student population, but we've worked hard to get our students participating at the golden 95% rate or higher. And we were able to do so last year for the first time since we exited COVID restrictions. Although not yet published, our internal data collection points to the 23-24 participation rate being slightly above 95% as well. Next slide, please. 79% of our students that completed an Algebra 1 course were tested with our Illuminate benchmark assessments, and they demonstrated growth when comparing pre and post-assessment data. We do recognize that we need to increase the sample size of our students taking these assessments for Algebra 1, and we look forward to that future growth. Next slide, please. The success rate metric tracks the percentage of students either graduating or staying in school, whether at Assurance or by transferring back to their home school. Due to high student mobility throughout the year, Assurance closely monitors this rate. Over the past 3 years, Assurance's success rate has maintained a percentage above 86%, and we consider that a strength of our program. While there was a 3.3% decrease in the 22-23 school year, early data for 23-24 indicates improvement. We attribute the 3.3% decrease to further correction in the wake of the pandemic fallout and the associated reduced graduation requirements that AB 104 afforded third-year and fourth-year high school students. Next slide, please. Over the last 3 years, Assurance's NWA MAP assessments have generally showed positive results in reading and math. When looking at our reading assessment results from the 21-22 to 22-23 school year, we saw a 3% increase in average Lexile growth. From 22-23 to 23-24, average growth measurement was maintained. And for mathematics, we saw steady growth from each school year to the next. While we're pleased with the continuous growth in mathematics, we are still committed to maintaining that growth and providing further professional development and resources to our literacy, ELD, ELA, and mathematics programs to keep reaching greater rates of growth within the school. Next slide, please. Our opportunities for alternative metric growth include our DOS one-year graduation rate, CAS performance, and ELPI performance. What? The DOS one-year graduation rate measures the percentage of identified 12th graders limited credits are classified as 9th or 10th graders. Our target graduation rate is 85%. So for the 2021 school year, the one-year rate was down to 58.10%. We believe this was a result of the pandemic's negative impact on student engagement. For the 21-22 school year, we saw a large increase to 87.1%. This large pendulum swing is also attributed to the aforementioned AB 104. So AB 104 was the pandemic era assembly bill requiring third and fourth year high school students to be offered the state minimum graduation requirements. With these lower requirements, we saw an influx of graduates in the 21-23 school year. Finally, for 22-23, we saw the rate drop below 85%. We believe this is due to the rebounding of the full graduation requirements and also an influx of more vulnerable populations, such as our foster homeless and EL students to our senior cohort. In 23-24, we increased our supports and tracking of the senior cohort with added focus from our academic counselors, and are excited that our internal data is pointing to a grad rate that will again eclipse 85%. Next slide. After a growth year across the board in CAS performance for 2021, Assurance has seen some regression in English language arts scores for back-to-back years. For mathematics and science, the state would classify us as maintaining due to less than 3% variance from year to year. However, there has been some slight decreases over the past 2 years in mathematics, with the lone bright spot being slight growth amongst the students with disability. Science marginally dropped in 2022, but rebounded in 2023. The continuous student turnover Assurance makes it difficult to measure program success using CAS data alone. 46% of the students tested in 22-23 have been enrolled at ALA for less than a year. In addition, SBAC assessments in ELA and math are only given to 11th graders, many of whom newly enrolled just before the assessment and often lack completion of grade level ELA. Given these challenges, Assurance will look to adding pre-assessment key concept reviews prior to the spring testing window, and our increased credit completion expectations to improve student performance on these assessments. Our 3-year comparison for the English language proficiency indicator starts with no data to report for the 2021 school year due to the pandemic pause on reporting state indicators. Dashboard data for the 21-22 school year showed 37.4% of our EL students making progress towards language proficiency. And for the 22-23 school year, we saw a slight dip to 34.6% of our EL students making progress. For this metric, the CVE classifies maintaining as a change in percentage of less than 2 points. With this dip being just outside of that range, we believe the slight drop was also impacted by an increase of new-to-country students to enroll. We plan to work with our curriculum teams, ELD staff, and others to provide support with more professional development, stronger professional learning communities, leveraging new language support technology and innovative instructional practices, particularly in supporting a level 1 student. Our preliminary 23-24 internal data indicates improvement in ELD classification rates, which is a positive sign for our ELD program. Next slide, please. As required by the state, Assurance develops and maintains an LCAP plan each school year. Our LCAP goals focus on academic progress, college and career readiness, student retention, and educational partner engagement. On the screen, you can see Assurance's 3-year budget and enrollment projections demonstrate a positive financial outlook. Assurance's 12-year history has shown both positive enrollment growth and financial stability, showing it to be fiscally sound and good stewards of public funding. In addition to the charts on this slide, it is worth noting that Assurance has a healthy reserve of about 20%, and we are committed to maintaining at least 20% in the future. And finally, based on the charter renewal petition presented to you on August 22nd, 2024, and in addition to the information we've presented to you this evening, we believe we have met the criteria for renewal, and we look forward to working with Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District in future years. Thank you.
Superintendent, what's next?
There will be questions for the board. Thank you, Ms. Patterson.
Okay, before we start, I have a statement to make. First off, I need to reveal, I have a daughter who did some credit recovery. She come out of a charter that collapsed. And in order to graduate Vasquez High School, there was an athletic curriculum that she required. So I have experience with this charter personally that will not sway my opinion one way or another. I'm going to point this mainly to the board members and to the public. As we know, in charters, there are motivations that exist kind of under the water a little bit. Some people don't like charters because charters take enrollment away from regular public schools. Charters are public schools. There's this thought that charters cream off the best students because somebody's, what's the word, neurodivergent. I should know that because I am one. But, you know, all the bright kids, you know, they go to the charter and all that kind of stuff. I don't think anyone is holding anyone at gunpoint to go to any charter or public school. We live in a world of choice now, but there are motivations. And to think about that a little bit, at one point, this district, the motivation was to create a financial stream that I'll leave that alone. That doesn't exist anymore. And you will hear me ask our financial director how much money we make off of this charter tonight. And if the answer is anything other than zero, I will not be happy. We're not in this to make money at all. I'm in this to hear that those kids right there have an opportunity to go out and become taxpayers in a world where they're self-sufficient, in a marketplace, in a work environment that is extremely competitive and being taken over by robots now. And so I'm serious about that. It's difficult to work in a public thing where people are asking, how much IA can I use to write my report to city council? I mean, hello, that's the work environment now. But let's say I lack floor space, and let's say the charter has the floor space I need and it's DSA approved. I'm saying a ton here if you read between the lines. And so it's just real easy for me not to renew your charter. Suddenly I have my floor space, and when your charter closes, I get the students back and my ADA problem disappears. Watch for things like that. You know how you spot them? I'm going to tell you how to spot them. The findings that our consultant will talk about, I'm going to ask the consultant to come up here and talk about some things. This is probably not the way it's supposed to go, but you'll all be happy in the end, I think. But if I suddenly come up with my own theory of, I'm not an educator, you might have figured that out. I run people for a living, fast and hard. So at the end of the day, if I suddenly come up here and I'm an expert on education and I'm starting to question his numbers, guess what? Through the past, how many years? 8, 12? I've been up here that long almost, or out here. But if our oversight process has not raised those concerns that I'm suddenly bringing up out of nowhere, that is suspect. It's very suspect. I will tell you, I'm not here to guide you through, and they are not here to guide you through to make sure you get your renewal. You know that. Next thing is, this is not a charter petition. This is a renewal of someone who's been conducting business. And I'm gonna ask some difficult questions in a few minutes of those people back there to try to find out how many times you've blown it along the way. But there are specific rules about what we can use to deny the renewal of a charter, and it's very tight. I know what they are. The lawyers know what they are. This board is going to ask you questions. Some of them are new. I don't think anybody's not qualified to be up here. They may not understand exactly what you do. That's why they'll ask questions. I don't mean to be cynical, but I've seen people go to prison over this with my name on them. So at the end of the day, I'm going to turn it over to our board members and hear their questions and comments, starting with Bill.
Just one question. You had said there's 2 schools that have to relocate, or what was that? And what's your recovery plan for that, and what was the relocation? Why do you have to relocate, and what's your recovery plan? Sorry.
It's our formerly known as Winnow site in San Fernando area, Sun Valley site. And half was sites that we had with one of our wheel partners. They needed the additional space that we took up. So they noticed, and then we had to pack up and start looking for something. But the good news is these temporary sites we found were readily available. We were able to get kids in without having to go to remote learning. And again, we're in talks right now with a permanent solution to that. And it won't be permanent. Hopefully we'll have any issues there.
That was it for me.
I just have one question. I see the numbers and they look great. I just don't know how they compare to other charter schools. You know, that's my dilemma. I don't know how do you stand? Are you at the lower end? Are you at the top end? Are you in the medium range? I would like to see, like, how do you stand within our other schools? That's my only question.
Yeah, and I can tell you that, you know, as you saw in the presentation, the type of students that we're working with really need that intensive support. So if you were to look at some of those numbers, and like we talked about past, we don't feel like those are great indicators where our student success really lies. So I would say, yeah, we really don't compare us to some of these higher top notch, like President Ballgraph was talking about, maybe some of these ones that do get accused of stealing the cream of the crop is. We're not there to compete with them. We're there to go after these students that need that final alternative with their last chance. We're here to play that kind of safety net position and see if that one-on-one relationship can the engagement to get that spark. It's been really successful for us. But yeah, we're not necessarily for every student. We're out there so with that problem.
Let me jump in here. We're gonna revisit you when it comes tonight to vote. If you hear something from a board member that you think is a question that could help them understand your specific organization, how it works, feel free to put the memo together and to make a submittal to the staff. Do not contact us directly, please. Never do that. But make your submittal to the staff, make a reference to the point that were asked. I would do a summary of that if I were you, and then submit that and do what you can to answer the question as thoroughly as possible. George? Brianna?
I actually don't have questions. Thank you very much.
How are you tonight? I've been in your shoes before, so I actually understand this process and how nerve-wracking it can be when you're, especially in today's climate. So I enjoyed your presentation and based on the work you're doing and the opportunity you're affording some of those students, it sounds like noble work. So that said, tell me a little bit about your current facilities. So you had 2 that you lost recently. How many of your facilities have leases that are expiring? How many of them are you gonna be looking for a new home for soon? And do you have intention to relocate any of them to like significant relocations outside of the current zip code they're in?
I mean, the only other one I can think of is our Wilmington site, which that site's a different situation. It's not something that we're on a timeline where we have to move out. We're just looking to find something a little bit different for our students. These two are the more pressing ones. Everything else, to my knowledge, is not imminent. We've got our facilities guys here for that. I don't think I can again find more information out and submit that to Thursday.
I think the concern is that you're not going to get renewed and then end up moving, 100 miles away and opening up a charter somewhere else after you were just renewed for your current facility.
No, yeah, I mean, we're fine. We'll make it work.
Yeah. How many facilities do you have in total?
13.
13. And we're, all of them are through AAD USD as the district.
Yeah, for sure.
How many students is that?
We're somewhere around 2,966 students, close to 3,000.
Excellent. A couple more questions. So with that many students, only 200 assessments, less than 200 assessments that you were?
For the Illuminate?
That's right.
Yeah, that's the one where, well, it's only the students that actually get through the full algebra 1 course.
Okay.
And again, it's something where we've recently sort of adopted that and been trying to grow the amount of students taking that. So therefore definitely noted as an area of growth of major need. We're going in that direction.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
You ready? That's party, brother. This is a really weird question. So in this 13 group thing, is there one of them that kind of acts like is the overseer that would appear to us like to be a school that, but in the background, you got the main administrators over there. In my back of house management agreement, I'm getting a principal pay at 7 different schools. You know what I'm asking you.
So, I mean, I would say no. Our 13 sites are, we have, how many principals? We have 5 different principals over our 13 sites.
But they go and do principal jobs.
Yes.
So they're not up here. Let me ask you this, does each site and the leadership of each site have the ability to make decisions, or is there some big brother up here guiding everyone, telling them who to hire, what curriculum to buy, all that?
All those decisions come through myself as a superintendent and our board. And
Okay.
Principals are brought in on those decisions when it makes sense.
So are any of your boards subservient to another? I want to be really clear about what I'm asking. The way your site structure is set up for the individual sites, do you have boards at your individual sites? Okay, so there is no this one over here and this one over here and this one over here. And then I've got this umbrella organization up here that serves not as a superintendent, but usurps the authority of the board of any of your individual sites. Good, that's really good. I like that. So your WIOA, my understanding of a WIOA, you might have a big like department store that's been vacated, and you have all kinds of programs that run in there, and it's more like a resource center for kids that are looking for this or this or this or this, and you might fill a spot in that building. And then when the main person who's running the 50,000 kid program starts running out of room, they just don't have room to say, you know what, we can't renew with you. Is that really what's happening here in some of these places where you're losing floor space?
I think this was a one-time sort of challenge with this particular situation. It's not something that we've ever experienced.
I've seen this happen where you'll have exponential growth and there's just not, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but have you lost WIOA partners and why? Let me help you. Guys, WIOA exists. There are federal grants given out to certain companies and businesses, and those companies in turn fund this type of organization. And sometimes the funding changes, sometimes the partners get in and out of business. I believe Walmart is a big WIOA partner because you're actually employing people who are coming out of charter schools. So the question I'm asking, my measure of whether you're effective or not, have you lost any big WIOA partners?
No. So we've had, some challenges with the one recently with that site, but that was more of a different nature.
Okay, so now we're gonna get deep into things that would affect this district, things that scare me. How many due process findings have you had? Did you have any due process settlements? You know, we can get on the internet right now and jump into Department of Justice and find this out. So please include that in your statement. Please, thank you. Okay, this is old stuff, but California Civil Liberties Union or whatever they call themselves now wrote a paper about people that use screening methodologies, like you fill out an application. Is anybody in your family not speak English? Tell me a story about where your grandfather grew up. Those are all predatory screening things. So when you're talking about some of the scores of the cohorts you have up here, it would be my conclusion that you don't have screening processes that help really low scores or people with criminal backgrounds or people with IEPs and severe learning disabilities. You don't have anything on your application. So you don't have a pre-placement application at any of your schools. Thank you. How many of your audit reports have been late in the last 5 years?
0.
I like to hear that. Do you have court-ordered students?
Not that are ordered necessarily from our school.
Not to your school, but they're under court order to go to. So tell me what that looks like. When you get a kid like that that comes in and goes, listen, I'm forced here by a judge. What does that look like?
I think what it looks like for us is, again, we don't have any barriers. So we bring every student, work with, sometimes if they've been assigned a probation officer, we may work in tandem with the probation officer. We've got, as one of the students mentioned earlier, we've got several new partners that support students. Those backgrounds, with that, they're treated like any other student.
Are you capable and willing to take any students this board unnecessarily finds to suspend for cause defined by state law? Would you take any student that this board has suspended from this school district or expelled for cause defined by state law? Are you capable of taking those children and students in and servicing them?
Prevent us from being able to take it back.
Okay, would you characterize your cohorts, meaning the group of kids that up here, we know your class is always what your class is. Are you an advisory?
Am I in advisory?
Yeah,
Every student at my school is in advisory.
good. I'll be talking about that in a little bit. So, would you characterize the cohorts that there really isn't much of a cohort because these kids are coming and going? It might be court order, it might be credit recovery, it might be. Tell me, what stops you from having 10 faces in one classroom that will be there at the beginning and at the end? And then tell me what you think that does to scores.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about in the presentation, the transition rate for our school doesn't make sure that it's engaged in subjects. You see that go on throughout the whole subject. So the cohorts as we define them may not be the same type of cohort we define in the traditional setting. But we still do our best to do that with our grade students to help now for your graduation by the CEP, and then also track student fluctuates.
Tell me how your teachers avoid lacking empathy when you know this kid's just in here because they're ordered by the court, or they need to, pretend to raise their grades so they can get back to the school to play football or whatever the deal is. How do you motivate your teachers to deal with this market?
I think what really motivates our teachers, now the secret for what we do is that one-on-one action. So, it's one thing to have to handle the challenges of the full classroom at one time. And, some of the classroom management that goes on in that setting. But with our students, they can't hide in the back of the classroom. They have to come and sit on top of it. That one-on-one action. Seeing some of the students that have come from really, really difficult backgrounds and succeed, it's enough to keep you going. It fuels you throughout the school year. I've had students that have been in Twin Towers and in jail, and prior to that, they would intimidate the staff, and the staff would be scared to be around them, and all of a sudden they come back from that like junior level, and I can't get enough principal talks, but what's up? And that's what I do. The way our classrooms are set up too, it's kind of more communal, because you have multiple teachers in that room, in that space with the students. So they're able to leverage each other and lean on each other and walk with each other.
Do you pay any SELPA fees to this district? Do you like the El Dorado County SELPA and the services they offer you more than the way the district here used to charge you almost 10% for absolutely nothing? Never mind. Fact. Oh, here's a good one. Outside of that room over there, do you pay rent to the district on that room? So we're giving it to you for free. Great. No, but so that room is not a front, so you can put 12 kids in it, say it's full, and go open up a charter in San Bernardino, right? Yeah, okay, good. I like that. Thank you. So, tell me about facilities use fees when you come back. Tell me what the bottom line is on what they're paying for rent in that room. That's not something you do. That's something staff will do. I think that's it. So, because I talk so much, I'm gonna loop back through. Stay out of this one, student rep. Student reps might want to sync a charter, so they have more friends at their school, right? Bill, do you have anything you want to ask? Okay, I think we're done. Staff, you want to talk to us? Because maybe you can incorporate some of our questions. What's next? Do we hear from Sherry? You got to give me a script if I'm going to know what to do. I get all loose.
Process is that once they have their public hearing, we'll start from the beginning. We have a submission. Within the timeline of 90 days, we have to have a board vote on whether they are approved or denied. During that time, they have a public hearing. And at that public hearing, as we've seen right now, they present information on their charter so that they can give the board and the public more information about their program. From that point, the consultant, myself, finance, we will all look at a matrix that is used to determine if they meet the criteria for renewal. From there, we will make our findings, which will be published 15 days prior to the board vote. And they will appear back before you. If you have any other questions for them, they will be able to answer them. If in the meantime you all had questions for them, they will provide me with the answers to that information. I will provide the superintendent with that information. The superintendent will provide you all with that.
Perfect. So let me ask you this. Have any of the questions that have been asked or comments made tonight? Sherry, come on up. I can't just pay you just to have you sit there like that. We have a great deal of respect for Sherry, as you can tell. So Have any of the questions up here or the concerns that have been asked fall outside of what would be normal in considering a charter renewal petition? So my understanding of this now is that staff will take this. Again, please, board members, do not contact these people. Anybody out here, do not, I've been in front, I've had 300 crying children sitting in here. And I'm just thinking, where's the adults? What happened here? I don't want to see that. So at the end of the day, we'll do nothing except get your recommendation. And then if there are questions about that recommendation, that would be processed through the board president and then off to the super. We do not have 3-member discussions and all that kind of thing. So how are we doing? Please, when you come back with your report, if you've had discussion items, especially if there's something that a board member has asked a question where they don't understand, because for us, this is it's a big deal because the recommended period of renewal, we just want to be able to say, okay, I don't want to hear any due process cases in here for $2 and $3 million. That will put you in a bad place with me very quickly. Be very, very careful with your audit reports and your special ed programs. That's the kind of stuff that will draw the hornet's nest out. I will not have my students who depend on our financing jeopardized by someone who does not attend school here. Be very clear about that. So that said, are we done?
I have a question.
Loop one more time. Bill, you got anything?
You said you had a 20% reserve. What percentage of that is restricted versus unrestricted funds? Okay, thank you.
Explain your question,
It's more certainly exceeds what the requirement is, but it's not super helpful if it's all restricted funds.
So perfect example. Let's say everybody wants new buses and we got a 25% reserve. It looks like we got all kinds of money to buy buses, doesn't it? But we don't. Because some things, state law requires that you don't just take the money, they actually monitor all the things that you're supposed to do it with in the interest of kids. We're here for kids. Light bulb kids. That's why we're here. Okay, anything else? Perfect. I will see you soon. I'm going to make a motion that we close the hearing at 9:08.
I'll second.
I don't know that there's a call to question on this. I remember when the hearings, the charter hearings were 8 minutes long. Okay. Moving on, I will move in a proposal for consulting services, California School Fiscal Services, not to exceed $20,000.
Second.
Thank you. So CSFS reviews the fiscal component of charter petitions. They also determine if the petition satisfies the necessary elements. So staff recommends the approval not to exceed 20,000 for the services to continue.
Discussion, questions? Is this outside of Sherry's contract?
Yes.
But the fiscal part is a separate part that is looked at by this consultant, and that is strictly the finance.
So nothing about educational performance, none of that. It's just strictly the numbers. Thank you. Is Sherry informed of what these reports are?
Yes, so we do the entire report, that separate. And then
So the purpose of this would be Sherry has enough experience to say, you can't have $2 and address the needs of 20 kids. Okay, anything else? Call to question?
DeJillian, I.
Mazer.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, I.
Mask on it.
Fallsgraf, aye. C, I will move in agreement for the provision of legal services by Edward Stevens Tucker LLP. This is the charter attorney.
I'll second.
Thank you. For legal services pertaining to charters, as Board President Fallsgraf mentioned, we recommend renewing the existing firm of Edward Stevens and Tucker. Ms. Patterson, anything that you'd like to add for the renewal for the law firm?
Eric has been the legal, person, department for the district. He's almost probably having charter. And so his part is also providing legal information, with regard to charter operations.
Questions, comments? Mr. Eric is a Harvard Law School graduate. In Newhall versus Acton Agua Dulce Unified in the appellate court, he saved this district almost $500,000 when he revealed that the motivation for the plaintiff was actually based on a loss of student-related revenue and not so much the quality of the program that the Einstein Group was offering. He is a charter attorney. It's you guys' job to make sure that he's objective, but he's a brilliant young man. Call to question?
DeJillian, I.
Mazer.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, I.
Mask on it.
Question, is there what's the limit on this contract? Oops. Am I missing it? Is there not to exceed on this contract? I like to know that kind of thing if the lawyer's saving us $500,000.
In the agreement, there isn't not to exceed, but it does provide an hourly rate for partners,
Hang on.
associate attorneys.
Do you have access to the annual contract list and or purchase order?
Pull it up.
Yeah, do that because we're going to take recess till you do. Take a break, guys. I called a recess at 9:13. hit it. We're back from recess at, call to order at 9:21 PM. The issue at hand is I've asked for a not to exceed amount on item C, an agreement for the provision of legal services by Edward Stevens and Tucker. Superintendent, can you give us a not to exceed amount?
Yes, sir. Just taking a look at the annual contracts, this should indicate not to exceed 70,000. If we need to amend, we could always bring this contract back to another board meeting to agendize. Thank you.
Do you anticipate that we're going to spend $70,000 on the review of this charter?
There's a consulting with him on every single charter meeting that could have a legal component. So given that we have renewals that have been started, what he may have gone up to this last year will definitely.
So to characterize this, this is the first time you're going to see charter renewals or petitions pretty much in the last 8 years, probably. And so the maintenance of charters along the way and annual reviews by an attorney is one thing, where this is, and so you're telling me that the 70,000 is collective of all the charter business that would probably come this year. Okay. So that said, this is an amendment to an agreement for the provision of legal services by Edward Stevens and Tucker LLP not to exceed an amount of $70,000. If you approach anywhere near that, we're going to want to know about it long before it happens. Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Respectfully abstain. DeJoyan.
There we go. Thank you.
Mays, aye.
Yes, Susai.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Matt Scott, aye.
Falls Graph, aye. Item D, I will move in approve the purchase of one diesel or propane bus.
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you, board. So as we know, all of the district's 75 passenger buses are large buses, are at least a minimum 20 years old. It requires ongoing maintenance, and there's plenty of maintenance that are happening on the older buses. So on multiple occasions, this year, previous year, it just seems to be heightened this year even more so, while transporting students to field trips, to school-related activities, as well as athletic events. There's been a lot of issues with the buses breaking down, and so forth. So the district is proposing to purchase either a new bus, 75 passenger bus, at the amount of 220,000, or a used bus, again, 75 passenger. I believe it's a 2015 bus at the amount of 120,000.
Okay, let's start the discussion. I'd like to hear from the Facilities and Finance Subcommittee, if you guys have any comments to start us off with.
Buses have certainly come up as a transportation need. As Dr. Sakian said, majority of our fleet is very old. I think average was like 25 years. I've thought 25 or 30-year-old for most of our fleet. Last time we made a significant investment in buses, purchasing a new one based on what we've seen so far would greatly reduce our operating costs related to the buses.
Yes, I agree. We definitely need the new buses, and I'm not sure that we want to do a 2015 used one. I would think that we'd want to do something that's going to stay around a lot longer. 2015, it's going to be done and gone with before we know it. So I think we should look at a newer bus, in my opinion.
Other board members?
Nothing. I'd be super excited to ride on a new bus.
So as a board president, I think that we should give staff the leeway to look at what immediately provides the most relief. You follow what I'm saying? There it is again. Listen to me. So I would say that we would make the purchase that provides us the most significant relief in the short term, would be my recommendation. So this is a general fund expenditure of 60%, and the other 40% is explain that to me.
It's the expanded learning opportunity program where 40% will be funded out of that program. It's mainly for bringing students from Meadowlark as well as High Desert to the after school program that's hosted here at the district office.
Okay, so it's a so 40% is enrichment, correct?
Yes.
Where does sports fit into that definition?
Well, that would be the other 60% where we have the flexibility of using that bus for other activities, whether it's for sporting events or taking students to field trips.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? Anything else? Call to question?
I won't. My only comment on it would be, I assume we're gonna make the right decision for the district as a whole for whatever we do purchase, but I think there will be differences between the total cost of ownership, 10-year, 5-year cost of ownership, depending on which decision is made. So I would assume that we're looking at the total cost of ownership over the 5 or 10 or whatever the life expectancy is of the bus that we're looking at.
Correct.
Yeah.
You
don't have to answer it now, but I assume that you're doing that. I've worked with
Yes.
you a bit now.
I'll have some comments like this in my board member comments. So we'll do call to question.
DeJillian, aye.
Mazai.
Yeah, Susai.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascot.
Fallsgraf, aye. It's time for everybody's favorite board member comments. Bill.
Welcome, Natalie. Very much happy to see you here. And then just again, the football game last Friday. It was a great game. It was a great turnout. And it was fun watching the boys and the strength that they've gained. Especially Mr. Mascone's son dragging 4 kids across the field was kind of the highlight of what I saw. But no, the program is doing good, and thank you to the coaches and staff and the boys for being there, and the cheerleaders. Got to give a shout out to them too.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'll keep my comments brief because everybody's tired, especially our hardworking principals back there. I know you're ready to get out of here and start your day early. Congratulations to our football team. They did an excellent job at the homecoming game. I wish we had a band there to rally people up. That's one thing that I think our town is missing, is a good band. Congratulations to the Hawks volleyball team. They've been beating all these schools, California City, Mojave. So congratulations to them. We had a great day at the picnic earlier this morning or this afternoon at Meadowlark. So thank you for putting that on. Appreciate that. And just thank all the district staff for their hard work and dedication to our students. I mean, there's a lot goes into it. I tell you all the time that I can't do what you guys do. It's a lot of work to deal with the students and make sure they're on the right path to success. So I just appreciate everything you guys do, all the educators, and really your commitment and dedication does not go unnoticed.
All right, I'm going to keep my comments brief, but I do want to send a huge congratulations to Michelle Fernandez. I hope she knows how much I adore and appreciate her for not only for her teaching ability, but for who she is as a person. She did have my kids in her class, and she is a phenomenal teacher. I was able to work with her when I worked at Meadowlark. She's a phenomenal colleague, and she's just an amazing person. So huge congratulations on Teacher of the Year. And I wish that we could celebrate big. You deserve to be celebrated big and you deserve to be shouted from the rooftops. So congratulations, Michelle. And then, yes, congratulations to football. That was a huge win. It was fun. I couldn't talk after. I don't know if you guys aren't sitting there when I'm talking in the microphone, I talk and I yell, and my favorite thing is to yell touchdowns. And then I shut that. And then I have to turn my microphone on and be, a calm announcer again. It is so fun to watch. It's so fun to call those names. And I just want to thank the football families for, again, allowing me to be a part of it, because it is definitely a big part of my life and my family's life. So it was a great game, and I don't typically look at scores. So I think as long as kids are out there having fun, playing their hardest and learning something, it's going to be a great game. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. Definitely looking forward to getting out and watching some of our other sports going on. We have great kids, great parents, great athletes. And we just have cool stuff going on. So thanks for letting me thanks for letting me be a part of it.
Yeah, it does seem like there's a lot of magic that goes on with sports in our community. And I can't tell you how awesome it is that High Desert has a sports program that's as strong as it is. Like George said, we've been going a lot of the volleyball games and they're just killing it. They're having a good time doing it too. So it's really fun to see. Just when you think about, all the sports programs that are happening over at Vasquez, you think about the football team, almost 20% of the student body over there is involved in some way, either a cheerleader or as a player. And just so you know, the national average is 6% as this involvement for athletes in football at a school. So we've got 12% of the student body involved in playing. And with the cheerleaders, it's almost 20% of the student body, all involved just in that one activity that goes on. And most of those are multi-sport athletes. So they're moving over to baseball immediately. They're moving over to track right after that. So continuing to invest in that, continuing to hire high quality coaches, continuing to work on those programs is very significant for our community. So that's great. And I'm super happy we're buying a new bus.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, get ready to go to sleep. I'm going to make a comment. We're about ready to start a process that is about redistricting voter the way this board is seated. And I'm not going to make any comments about that when the process is going on, because you have to be very careful that if you're sitting up here that you don't manipulate the process to give you an unfair advantage. And I was thinking about this. There'll be statements that I'll read from the attorney and stuff, but you won't hear me saying much about it, other than this is going to change the way this board does business for sure. It's not going to be just whoever runs against everybody and we're all a community. It's going to be broken up into different sections and stuff, and it's going to have an effect. And I was thinking about this and a couple of things that I am looking at and hearing about, one of them being buses. So look for that to be a theme through this. But does anyone understand why this district became a unified district? A board had at one time decide we're not going to send our kids to the Antelope Valley anymore to go to high school. And I'm not sure everybody understands why that was. It was that if you own a tract home in the Antelope Valley and your lot is this big, and you live in Acton and your lot is 5 or 10 acres, every time they pass a bond over there that's related to school, you become a taxpayer on that bond, and your property taxes go through the roof. Well, I think this country was founded on, I don't want to pay taxes on things that I'm not getting the benefit from. So that's why we exist. We were doing fine managing the kids from K through the junior high. But sometimes I think that we forget, You know, this part, I'm going to read it again. Maintain a respect for the rich history of the district and the efforts of others who have served in the past. I've been through some nasty board meetings up here where people wanted to hang me over an issue that involved the interest of one or two people. The board that put this district on the map by deciding to move a bunch of trailer houses in at Vasquez and had the whole community come behind them and build a field and put in lights, only so now we can deal with it later. Well, there wasn't any DSA approval. So that board, whoever they were very mature and they changed the face of this district. But unfortunately, here's the problem. In education nowadays, everybody wants a bond. Everybody wants to be subsidized. You can't take the money that you have because the funding model that we're given favors a big district with a lot of Title I kids. That's it. Has this district ever had the money it needed? The answer is no. So the charter schools I'm talking about, oh, we had our own funding model, which was illegal. This board has continuously had to deal with deficit spending, and we're going into deficit spending again. And I explain that as this. If your grandfather dies and leaves you a bunch of money that they worked very hard for when money was real money, when 20,000 was, 200,000 now, and you get slack and you stop going to work and you go buy a Harley Davidson or whatever you do, and you start pulling grandpa's money out to subsidize your weekly budget, that's called deficit spending. This district has never been out of deficit spending. So I hear people coming here, I want this, I want that. The money that was left over from the charter thing, nobody come after us because they didn't want to go for the investigation. They didn't want to go through what would be found. Only one did. The court in San Diego made us pay back $750,000 in one shot. So I need everybody to understand these subcommittees that are up here that exist, the Finance and Facilities Subcommittee and the Education. Oh, I did this. Oh, my kid's going to get the scholarship, and inform a priority exercise that says, guess what? We need buses. So if our priority is buses, then let's focus on buses. Don't be asking me for all kinds of other stuff. If you want your buses, then let's get a bus. And I think through the subcommittee process, I want to say something about a bus driver. I had licenses in my career where I could drive the biggest cranes down the road. The last vehicle that I ever want to drive is a bus, because you got somebody's kids that I can't even manage in my own home freaking out, and you're up there like, oh, don't do that. It is the worst job in the world. I have the most respect for bus drivers, even above teachers. I didn't say that. Turn the camera off. Anyway, so is it the bus driver's job to feel sorry that we didn't want to pay Antelope Valley bond funds 25 years ago? No, it's not the employee's problem. You follow me? They want a bus, they drive it, they don't want any drama, they don't want to hear me talk about why it's so bad, we can't get new buses, but we don't have the money to buy new buses, newsflash. So to get the money to buy new buses, you got to kind of look at the rest of what's going on and maybe not buy the Harley Davidson and not get into grandpa's retirement fund. That's the reality of it. Think about that. You hear me? We are here. The only reason we're here is we don't want to be paying bond funds that we're not getting anything for, that our students aren't getting anything for. And if you don't watch it, you end up going through the cyclical failure of, oh, okay, well, we can't do this program anymore, and all this fancy things that he's asking where the money's coming from 4 years from now. That question is saying, yeah, we got all this now, but the way the projections look and we're deficit spending, how are we going to pay for this? So the quality of the education that goes to people like you on the end, and then it turns into a seniority game. Well, I've been here the longest, so you get laid off. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? The job market is becoming increasingly competitive and IA is taking over. You see it everywhere. When you're typing on a computer, it wants to finish your sentence. It works for me because I don't swear that way, but other people are capable of original thought, right? Guys, this district exists because we send a message over there. We're not paying your bills, and there's not a voting block of us over here big enough to stop us from being automatically taxed for services we won't get. So if you want to rile the community up, you talk about a bond. They want to know what they're getting. I'm not talking about a bond. Don't flip that around. We have to live within our means. And please, this program that we had tonight, don't just sit out there in the parking lot and cuss me. Everybody's doing that. That's not new. Look at these programs that they're offering. They're called parent partner or something. Know your district, whatever you're calling it, engage in it, understand it, come in at the adult thought level and say, what are the challenges that these guys have? By the way, how was your paycheck this week, y'all, for doing this? Yeah, perfect. 0. Still 0. So remind me to tell you that story sometime. So at the end of the day, guys, we have to be able to live within our means, and we have to be able to prioritize things and tell the community, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it. And this right here, what are you guys doing? Is this funny to you?
We got 2 waters.
We got 2 waters this one.
You know how many bottles of water I have taken from this district in 8 years of service? Here's another full one tonight. Lap it up, still 0. Anyway, this is not humorous at all. At the end of the day, these subcommittees exist to help set the priorities and figure out, talking about a bus being broke down, and how is it, let me ask you this, maybe Sherry, you can answer because nobody else can. How is it that we are scheduling games hundreds of miles away when we don't know if the bus fleet will make it? That sounds like a facilities and finance discussion to me. How is it that we're telling the finance or the athletic director, I was just being facetious. I have ADHD, go with that. So how is it that the athletic director has to schedule teams that he thinks he can beat based on that the bus will only go 15 miles? Come on. Is that where we're at? Really? You charter people, you don't need to hear this. We're awesome in every way. That's it. Except I have one more thing. Who's in our advisory class at the high school?
May I?
No, not yet. I just asked a question. You just answer it. You're in the class.
Every high school student is in an advisory class at West.
How many kids are in the whole thing? I don't even know my enrollment at
Dr.
Vasquez.
Smith?
No, how many kids are in the advisory class?
My advisory class is 15 people.
Any number between 1 and 3 trillion will do. Help me out here.
I'm so
360 kids go to advisory. So every grade has advisory. Don't diminish it to that level because I'm taking it. You notice I keep building this up,
advisory is actually a really great.
So you know what our
class.
advisory kids did? They have taken up the habit of sending giant get well cards to the kids that are hospitalized. Oh, how do you feel with your questions now, huh? So at the end of the day, this is community. This is what we get here. Whether we're in a trailer house or whatever it is, this is what our kids are about. Who's the teacher over there? Every teacher. Good. This is a good habit. I'd like to see more of it and less whining about other things. Okay. That's all I have this evening. Is it good to have the old Ken back? Okay. All right, where's the agenda? Thank you for your patience, even though you have none. Calendar. Board meeting, October 10th, 2024. Will that also be part of that meeting will be the redistricting? Yeah, if you're interested in that, please watch or be here. Any quorum problems for the October 10th meeting? Okay, what about the October 24th meeting? So you'll have another districting discussion there, but we're okay with that. So future agenda items, quarterly strategic plan report, and CVRA updates, that's the redistricting. When it comes to the strategic plan report, I would really like to see the subcommittees be a part of making board commentary, please, if you're all ready to do that. When is the education committee kick off?
Speaking with my team, we're looking at the month of November. So Dr. Chamberlain's going to be in touch with our education committee liaisons very shortly. The policy management, we are anticipating the month of January.
Perfect, thank you. Anything else? No?
I do. Our facilities and finance meeting will be on October 4th. That'll be released 8th. So that'll be the budget, the agenda will be released soon. So if you're interested.
And
please join.
those meetings are Zoom and archived as well? Good, thank you. I will move for adjournment at 9:48. Call to question?
Jillian, I.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
That's gonna.
Fallsgraph, aye. Thank you all.